Okay, so for this assignment, the communication in close relationships, I chose the one for romantic partners because I'm doing the um, assignment and the project on me and my boyfriend. So it says, what expectations do I believe we share? We both answered this a little differently. I said disclosure and honesty. He said looking out for each other and being there for each other. For the second question, it says, where do I think our expectations may differ? He said that he believes I'm more open with emotions, and I definitely agree with that. Sometimes he is a little bit hesitant to speak about his emotions, even though he does communicate well in a lot of other aspects. And then he said, or I also said that like our expectations for personal time and space. So he has a lot more respect for my personal space and time, and he often like encourages me to do things, like hang out with my friends or like go to the gym and like just things like that. Like he is very encouraging of like when I do want to do things like that, as to where I sometimes like when he wants to play his game and things like that and have time for himself, sometimes I may like get irritated or offended in a way for whatever reason. What assumptions might I be making without realizing? So that kind of goes hand in hand with what I had just said. For me, I said I feel I often assume something is wrong, instead of just realizing it's okay and it's healthy for him to have time to himself. And then he said that, oh, actually, I don't think he had answered that one. Yeah, he didn't really have an answer for that one. And then for the second section, it says, when do I feel most heard by him? So I said whenever he validates my feelings and reassures me. He said when he's expressing his feelings and I just listen. Then it says, when do I feel misunderstood or dismissed? So I said whenever emotional conversations feel rushed, or like he's just trying to get the conversation over with, which sometimes does happen because again, he's not really like sometimes like he just is not really into talking about our emotions that much. And then he said whenever I talk over him or don't give him time to speak. What do I do when communication feels hard? He said that he tries to get a better understanding, and then for me, I usually just take a step back. Next part is intimacy and disclosure. It says, what helps me feel emotionally close? I said whenever we have open and honest conversations without any distractions. He said when we share personal stuff. So yeah, I think we both agree like just having those like heart to heart moments really do make us feel like closer. And then what makes me pull back or self-protect? I said when my feelings aren't validated or when I feel dismissed, and he said nothing that he could think of at the time. How safe do I feel sharing vulnerable thoughts? He said that he feels safe, and I said that I feel very safe because he's not like defensive or anything. So a lot of times it's easy for me to share.
Please unlock the device to continue.
To share that. Maintenance and commitment. How do I show effort or investment? He said by giving his all. I said by communicating openly and also being emotionally supportive. Then it says I'm getting off. What kind of maintenance behaviors matter most? He said affection. I said consistency, intentional quality time together. And then where might I assume effort is obvious when it isn't? I said I may assume it's obvious when I need reassurance or emotional support, because sometimes I don't like voice that, and I expect him to just offer reassurance. And I know now I'm learning that, that is something that I do need to share with him. I can't expect him to read my mind. And then for him, he said that, like basically assuming that I understand how he feels without fully explaining it. So kind of the same, but similar. Then next, dialectical tensions. Where do I feel pulled between closeness and independence? Oh. What did I skip on? Okay, so for him, he said needing personal space, but also wanting to stay connected. Then I said addressing the issue. Oh, I don't know, actually, sorry. I think we both agreed with that. And then the next one was, how do I respond when these tensions show up? And he said he addresses the issue. I said sometimes I get quiet or distant. And then what tensions feel hardest for me to manage? For me, it was wanting to openly express my emotions without feeling overwhelming or misunderstood. I feel like that's something I definitely struggle with, because a lot of times I do like kind of suppress certain feelings because like I'm, again, not wanting to like overwhelm him with my emotions. And sometimes like, you know, that's just like a constant battle that I think I'm like, overthinking about also. And then for him, he just said balancing need for personal space and emotional closeness again. All right, and then conflict and repair. What do I typically do when conflict arises? He said he keeps calm and also tries to be understanding. I said I try to communicate clearly without responding emotionally. 2, how do I know repair has actually happened? He said that he knows whenever we've talked through the issue and gained a mutual understanding. And then for me, I said when I no longer feel anxious or like lingering tension. And then what repair behaviors help me feel safe again? He said apology or acknowledgement. I said feelings being validated. And then the last section was power and respect. Where do I feel most respected? He said whenever I tell him everything and don't hold back. I said whenever my feelings are taken seriously. Then it says, where do I feel unheard or minimized? He didn't have an answer for that one. And I said whenever I feel brushed off instead of being heard. Lastly, how do decisions usually get made between us? He said we talk about things and come to a conclusion. I said we usually compromise to make sure both of our needs are being met. So, yep, that was all that we had.